just ran up to the store and bought myself some new tools. I didn't think through starting these streams a few weeks ago, and I've been running through all these tools that were really old and they're just tearing up, so I went and got some new ones. We got 5 cups left to trim, and then we'll be done for the day. We were running behind, but we got these 5 cups left. And what we're going to do is trim the feet, trim out the excess clay of these cups so that they can get to drying. So, anyways, the stream started a tad early, and so I'm going to finish pulling these open and then we'll get started. Use their tool to open their tools. How's everybody doing? Put these back here, keep them separate. These are their the flat series, and then these are rounded. I haven't ever had these yet, so I thought they were there, so I thought I'd grab them, give them a try. And then this is a different style of trimming tools. These work nice. All right, I hope y'all are well. I had the idea today while I was riding around to invite people's interpretation of what to make or how to make something. So for instance, I was thinking that, you know, I could explain the terminology that I use in my head when I'm working, and be it throwing something or trimming, and so then I could ask, you know, how you think this one should be trimmed, and then you know, select an idea that looks like it may be conveyable, and you know, given my attempt to interpret your you know, your thoughts, and therefore it kind of create like a co-creating sense. But yeah. These are being trimmed, and when we trim cups, we throw these cups, and if you're here for one of those or have seen those done, I throw off the hump. So I'll put in a big pat of clay and then just throw cups off the top. These were thrown Friday, and so now what we're going to do is trim the foot on these, and what that entails is cutting away any excess clay. For weight and functionality, but then also to do so in a manner that that fits the form, since the foot is almost like a pedestal for each piece. And so you can be, you can trim a foot so that it flows with the form like that. So the inside of the foot is all the way up here, and that's where the base of the piece is. This one right here, you can get a good sense of where the foot is. Since I've cut out portions of the wall to create this split design, I call these crenellated. I don't do them often, but if a piece looks like it really needs an added touch, I'll go through that, cutting that away, since it does take a lot more time. But all of these, every cup you can pick and choose. You can decide how you want to trim the foot, and you just do. So anyways, as y'all kind of follow along and learn terminology, you could say, for this cup here, we have, it's fairly concentric. It's got these folds within the walls, complex series of tight folds, but then they sit within this bowl shape that, looks relatively, sweet. And so here you could say, well, how do you want to trim this foot? And you could either follow it and just keep it real elegant and soft, not a lot of distracting lines, keep the bevels and curves to a minimum, or we could trim this thing to be completely standoffish and separate, and then crenellate it, and next thing you know, you have this, almost like this real, big pedestal. Pieces like this, where where the foot is real organic, it can be really difficult. You might be limited in how to trim that, but but nonetheless, you start by just defining the canvas, and then deciding how you want it to fit. Right now we're going to start with the one that is driest, since time is always against the potter. This cup here is our driest cup. For a cup like this, we would only be able to give small attention to the outside. So we'll just start with that and get a sense of what we're doing. I've been really thinking that I was going to start doing these live streams and talking. I've been calling it walk and talk. It's turning out to be a lot more difficult than expected, because to talk, or to think through an idea, and then to do a different process. It's like two simultaneous, independent process, and so far it's not been working out. I could certainly walk through what I'm doing in terms of talking through the moves and the thoughts and all of that, but so far I feel like that would be fairly boring. this right here would be what I would call like a canvas, and it's taking off the minimum amount of material to get the entire foot to be concentric. And so from here you could start defining how you want that foot to sit. For the most part, you just are cleaning out excess material, but there is always a choice on how and where to take off. I think I'm going to keep as much of this clay on the outside, and I'm going to just follow the form on the inside. It's usually the safest route. So yeah, I felt like this, the curve, this fold in the foot, and especially this wrinkle here in the wall, it was bold enough that I didn't want to have a foot that looked like it would take up too much attention. And so I left the foot to be real subtle, almost mimicking this top portion. And then of course the inside was just taking out any excess clay. So, little cup. All right, 4 left. I'll go ahead and hit this one up. This one is a lot more robust, fuller, a little more, I guess not as sweet of curves, so it has more of a natural appeal. The foot on it has a lot of clay here, so like I was saying, I could trim away the inside and leave this untouched, and it would just, stay looking like this. Or I could come in and cut in this edge, and you'll start to see the foot of this stand off the piece. And I think we'll do that. I think I might try to leave it looking like it's still a part of the same form, but maybe just a light edge in there, and then we'll clean up the inside. Thank you all for being here. Trimming is one of my favorite parts of this process. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is just take down as much of the clay until we clean up the canvas. There's many ways to do any single task, and it's good to know as many ways as possible to do the same thing, because then you can choose if something is working or not working, and you have more abilities than, you know, just that one trick. We'll just keep taking this down until we see it center up. I'll try to leave that outside. I don't know. Yeah, no, that works. Alright, I'm going to take all this out, call it done. A humble foot. I like that clean edge. I left the clean edge on the inside to just give it a little bit of an accent. And then a foot that fits the form. this one is next. This one is going to be a tough one because I left the foot on this one really I hit it with that real bold move at the end, leaving that kind of that spiral. And so now we have to figure out how to trim this centered when the foot is not going to center. And so yeah, I'm gonna just work this one out. This one won't give us too many options because of that off-centered corkscrew look. Unlike when you throw pieces, going as fast as the wheel can go when you trim is better if you understand graphic design and digital terminology. This would be like the resolution of the video or image. Similar to like woodwork, wood turning. When you're turning on a lathe, the higher the RPM, the finer the line. I've got this thing I had installed a little while back on the wall to hold a camera, and I just thought about it today. I think tomorrow I'm going to try to hook the camera up to that. Maybe we'll get a closer shot throwing and trimming tomorrow. Use your fingers for calipers whenever you need to know how far you can push something. It looks like this edge right here is going to be the thinnest spot, and so this is going to let us know that we can't trim any further than that edge. Yeah, I really felt like any minute I was going to punch through this wall. It's really thin where that spiral is, and it's much thicker over here where it's not. And so any minute I felt like it was going to cut through. I don't know if it would have mattered much. Might have added a nice effect, but it certainly would have weakened it. With a stoneware like this, I would use a chamois and water to compress the rim back. And if it was porcelain, I'd wait for it to dry and then just sand it. But with a stoneware body, it'll continually put up pieces of grit and it'll just keep wearing down. You got to actually smooth those pieces back into the clay body. All right, we got 2 more. Let's do this one. Now this one here is got a really deep fold in the foot. It actually all kind of sits down right around the foot. We can't get close to that edge, so we leave that as kind of like a live edge, maybe in tree terms. But we want to try to preserve these folds, and so I won't get anywhere near those. I might do some like hand work to clean up in there if I have to, but right now we're just gonna maybe just eat out the inside of this, clean it up, and then see where we're at. If putting any sort of decoration on the outside helps, then we'll do that last. Another way to form your the canvas is you could use a needle tool, and then you just hold it as still as you can and then just punch straight through, and you can cut off large amounts of clay with really nice precision. So this is one way that you can really start to define what's good and what's not. You know, so for instance, you can just take it and just kind of draw a nice line without actually cutting it off to see, you know, is that necessary? Keep that handy new use. I really feel like I want to do something to this foot though. I almost think it would look nice to just have this big fat bead, like one continuous bead. You know, the shape of the interior here, I could probably make it look like a nice flowing curve. Let's find our tool. Yeah, as I was saying, you know, I trimmed the first 5 pieces this morning. We did our first batch live last week, so all of this is new for us. Just learning how to set the stream up and, you know, get into it quickly and efficiently, so that we can get back into working and sharing and being present. So so we started relatively quick. And then and then today I'm over here working and my tools are all wearing out. And for lunch, I just quickly ate some food and then ran up to my local shop to grab these brand new tools. So we're very excited to have these. Bought 3 packs. These purple ones are round, the green ones were the edges, and then these yellow ones are a different style of cutting. But so nice. Fresh trimming tools are amazing. Here's a couple that are spent, and this is where it gets dangerous. Let me see if you can see that. So this one here is almost wore out, and then this one here is finally broke through, and that is super sharp. And if you lose one of these edges into your clay, like, you just get rid of it, because if you're trying to throw clay and you snag one of those edges, it's no fun. Was not expecting this indent to come through, but it actually, I think, looks really nice. It's almost, I think, reflecting off of this edge, this shoulder here. Let me see if I make it a little darker, a little more pronounced. This is a reductive art or subtractive process. So when you're trimming, you're taking something away, and once you take it away, you can't add it back. Unless you choose that you really, really want to. I really like this fat foot. I'm gonna leave it. Really thick. I think that extra weight is going to be visually supportive, physically supportive of the visual look. All right, let's see. It's like I gave it just a little edge at the bottom, maybe against my shirt. I can't see what I'm doing. I have to hide from the camera. All right, we have one more to do and we're done. We are back to this one, and I think I'm going to separate this one. I think having some lines in here, some real sharp lines, will help these have a lot more appeal. Let's do it. Alright, so what I've just done is the foot was centered and the lip was off-center, and I decided to see how far we could get the lip to center to see if there'd be any foot left. And there'd be like nothing left. Unless we took it, well, we could take it lower. No. I don't think we'll be able to get away with that. And we'll do it, maybe we'll split the difference. Alright, let's do that. All right. I'm seeing that line. I think so. I was thinking I could take it down shorter, like halfway. But no, I think that's nice. I think it's good. I think I'll finish this up and we will be done. I think we'll be done till tomorrow. All right, last one. Thank you all for stopping by. We are a new startup, opening the studio and just showing up virtually, working on some projects and helping kickstart build a story. Right now we're doing just a few pieces, throwing a few pieces every morning and then trimming the previous days. So we just finished trimming these cups These were the cups that we threw Friday. So each of these cups, we just finished trimming the foot on them. And you can see you just kind of read each form, and then you try to trim the foot to express whatever part of the form you want. Split foot. So we're out. We're going to cover these up for a nice slow dry. Now the other thing is I could go ahead and attach the handle to the mug. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Maybe we'll just do it right here and be done. This will be the first mug that we've done live. All right. So we did this one last week, and I made this handle. I didn't make the handle, I made it after the session, but I just pulled a quick handle and formed it up. And you just get like a little piece of clay and then pull it down, and then you shape it and then set it, and it'll set up. And so what we're going to do is we're going to attach the handle to here. You can do handles however you want, but you would hold the cup up and then you just visualize how the handle might sit. You know, if you had a cup like this, there's a lot of different ways you can place a handle. Straight up, I think that could fit if we cut it like that, but sometimes I find it easier to do them upside down, and it gives it a bit more of an elegant feel. So let's try it. Need a knife. So I think that was about spot on. I'll try to run these two edges together to make that look like it's smoothed in. And I'll take this out a little bit to snug that up so it doesn't look like it's coming out of the cup. like that. Alright, so what I do from here real quick is I'll pin it down, I'll line it up, and then I outline it with a needle tool. I'll be excited when I get my multi-camera setup. So you just do a small little scratch up job right there, and then with the needle tool you just cut it in. Oh, careful. Definitely careful on the lip. That. You just let those sit for a second. And you do the same to the handle. Anybody here work with clay yet? Artists, potters, enthusiasts. Alright, we'll let that sit now. And we're going to come back to the cup, and then we're going to do it again. We're going to leave the clay there. And we're just like building up a big pad of slip. All right. This is the time we make sure it's lined up. It's not crooked. And then from there you just start nestling it in. You want to have enough pressure to push out any sort of air bubbles, wiggle it around to make sure you get good contact. And then not so much that you push out all your soft material, because you definitely will come back in later and you know, be able to move it around some more. Yep. Right now it's just like a preliminary, like pushing in the slip, trying to fill in the cracks, completing some of that form back. Easy does it. looks like it'll be about a nice solid 3-finger cut. Very comfortable, made for comfort. Think it holds up by now? Yep. All right, we're going to put this in with the rest and give it a nice slow dry. That way these two joins can kind of homogenize, and then we'll probably pull it out a little later on once it sets up, and we'll get out a little wooden tool and kind of really clean up those seams. All right, we're done for the day. Thank you all for coming by, who stopped in to watch. This is so far wrapping up to be a daily live stream. So we're opening the doors in the morning, throwing some pieces on the wheel, and then trimming the pieces from the day before. And so these were all Fridays. We have 12 pieces that we threw today, and so we'll trim those tomorrow and maybe make something else. Come by, let me know if you want to see something in particular. I can at least begin working things into a schedule if y'all want to share some direction. So, all right, y'all take care. Love y'all. Be well.